Hey Charlie, thanks for taking the time to speak with us and talk with us today about overtraining and burnout. Um, can you first provide us with your athletic background?
Yeah, so I'm on the men's cross country team here at Bowling Green, and I'm a junior on the team. Basically, I've been running for since elementary school, since the fourth grade, and gone to cross country my freshman year of high school, and then eventually committed to Bowling Green to run cross country and track, and I've been doing sports for a while and I've just stuck with running, and now I'm in my third year here on the team. So it's basically my running career and background for athletics.
Nice. All right. With your training at BG, what's like a typical training level? And then has training increased basically like from freshman to sophomore to now junior year?
Yeah. So typical training, definitely my freshman year, coming from high school to college was definitely a big adjustment, especially since kind of my mileage went up and the intensity increased. It was definitely a lot more longer runs than I was doing in high school. Basically, I was even doubling for some runs, so it was just a lot more mileage that was being added on, a lot more time training and running for practices. So basically, my freshman year, um, we were usually doing around 60-ish miles a week for the team, and it was like a lot of tougher workouts compared to high school that I did. I mean, I don't think I adjusted the best my freshman year since I was just coming into the team. But then leading to my sophomore year, kind of stayed a little similar. It ramped up a little bit since I've been around on the team a little bit longer. So in my sophomore year, I bumped up in mileage up to like 70 miles a week. And then it did even more training throughout that time. And then workouts definitely got a little harder, just more intensity since I've been on the team for over a year at that point. And then up to this year, training has definitely gotten even more intense. I feel like the mileage has been around the same for this year, but I'm still, as of right now, I'm still increasing mileage at the moment during track season. But we just got a new coach as well, and her training has definitely been a lot more difficult and more intense than our previous coach, which I've liked it a lot more, training wise, honestly. And it's, I don't know, been able to be a lot more intense and get us in better shape for the races. So those are the typical train levels.
Cool.
Going back to your freshman year, I know you talked about it a little bit as far as training and mileage, but how did that differ from your high school training as far as mileage and stuff besides training as well, like outside of track and cross?
Yeah, definitely is definitely a big difference. I feel like, because in high school, I'd say it was um a lot less. It was about the same mileage. I feel like when I peaked, but then like my base mileage throughout the year was a little bit lower than compared to my freshman year here on the team at BGSU. I'd say the intensity was definitely a lot less than it was going into college, just since I think my college coaches were more, I don't know, more skilled, I guess, with the training and workouts, I'd say. But I mean, my senior year, it's still of senior year of high school, it's still ramped up. It was pretty intense, so I was getting more serious about it and going to run in college. But I mean, yeah, it was still a big jump going from senior year of high school to college, my freshman year, since I mean, it was a longer race. It was a 5K in high school to an 8K, which is like 5 miles for college. So it was obviously going to be a little bit more of a jump. Um, but yeah, I mean, we focused on like a lot of stuff on the grass for um, cross country season during my freshman year of college, which we didn't really do a whole lot of that during my high school career, but that's basically the differences there that I had.
So kind of moving along, we kind of talked about differences in mileage and stuff. So just kind of just going along with that. If you had to provide like a definition of overtraining, what would that definition be?
Yeah, I'd say overtraining is like um I guess pushing yourself to the point where your body starts to go like I don't know, like downhill kind of. Basically it's like I'd say a broad definition would be push yourself to the point where your body like can't really handle the amount of work that you put in, or you've been doing too much and too soon, at a point where your body just starts to like kind of like shut down and it starts to feel the effects of it, not being able to, I don't know, handle the amount of training you're doing, and I guess like your performance will impact that as well. Just the amount of how much training has been put on your body and stress, and ultimately it makes you suffer. So I'd say that's a my definition of overtraining.
Do you feel that overtraining has ever affected your performance in high school or college?
Yeah, I'd definitely say I've felt it. I guess a good example was my last year during my sophomore year on the team here, during the cross country season. Um, it was when I was peaking for mileage, so I was hitting 70 miles a week, which I never have hit that before. So when I hit that, it was during like one of the last weeks of September's, and it was like one of our bigger races during that week, and I hit 70 miles and I PR'd during that week as well during our race, which was good. But then I think it started catching up to me all the mileage a few weeks down the road, because then I started having, I don't know, I've been having like feelings of I don't know, just stuff in my muscles, like my calves is acting up, and started kind of feeling a little bit more fatigued during races. And then like the next week or the 2 weeks after that, we had a race, and I was kind of, I don't know, I was feeling a little overtrained, just kind of feeling it. And then we had our MAC championship, and that didn't go really that well either. I just started, I don't know, I just kind of felt burnout and overtrained to the point. I just think I might have jumped up in mileage too soon, too fast, and I kind of paid the price down the road in my races. So yeah, I mean, that definitely affected my performance during that time, but I've been able to learn how to adjust to that.
So kind of going along with that same overtraining effect, obviously you kind of talked about like physical performance. Did you think it had any effect on like psychological as well? So like was your mood any different when you were going through that kind of overtraining period, kind of where you were peaking in mileage and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I definitely say my psychological like well-being was definitely affected, and like my mood. I say that because like it was kind of difficult. Like I mean, at that point when I hit my peak mileage, I was pretty happy with PRing and stuff. But then when those effects of like overtraining kind of started kicking in later on, where like we had like our most important races, it was kind of frustrating with my mood, just because I don't know. I mean, it was tough to see that like I was doing a lot better earlier in the season, and then it kind of didn't translate to like some of the bigger races that we had. So, I mean, my mood was definitely affected and kind of took a toll on my mental state. But I don't know. You can try to stay strong with it and try not to let it affect me. But yeah, it's still obviously overtraining affected my psychological like state.
Having gone through some overtraining in your past, what would you suggest to individuals that are currently experiencing that?
Um, some advice I guess would be um talk with your coach about like how you're feeling and stuff with the mileage, I guess, just because that was one thing I kind of regret. When I hit 70 miles, I was kind of like, I think to the point where I kind of felt it before I even hit that 70 miles. And I didn't really say anything to my coach because I kind of just wanted to hit the number and say I ran 70 miles that week and I kind of paid the price for it down the road. But I would say that if you're starting to feel like a little burnout or starting to feel it a lot, and it's kind of affecting your workouts or races, I definitely say to take a step back and reduce your mileage or talk to your coach about it because that's the last thing that you want to happen to your athlete. So that's some advice I have.
So we kind of went over your definition or like the definition you would give about overtraining. What about what definition would you give for burnout? And then are there any factors that you feel contribute to burnout?
Yeah. So defining burnout, I guess, would be um, I don't know, kind of similar to overtraining, but I guess burnout would be like, I don't know, feeling like you're giving like your maximum effort and it's not like translating to like, I don't know, I guess how you're feeling during it. Because if you're putting like your maximum effort in and your results are like way worse than you're giving the same effort like at previous times, you can feel like burnout in that way just because your body's like, I don't know, it's just deteriorating, I guess, just from all the work that you've been putting in. And I guess what factors contribute to burnout? I would say a lot of it could be just the amount of intensity that you're given at a point, and then I guess doing too much too soon at a point, like if like weightlifting or something, and um, like if you're doing a lot of that, and then combined with like high mileage and stuff, that can lead to a lot of burnout later on in the season, and you won't feel like your effort that you put into it is going to be um, I don't know, the same how you felt like previously, like when you weren't burnout. So yeah.
You said that you've experienced some overtraining. Have you ever felt burnout in your career at all, or
Yeah, I'd say I felt burnout a little bit. More so towards my high school career. Like it was more towards like my junior year. I'm pretty sure it was my junior year in high school. Um, just because I was transferring schools, my high school, and then um the coach kind of I don't know, put a lot out on us, and then it kind of the intensity ramped up a little bit too fast. And like earlier in the season, I was putting about the same amount of effort. I was hitting the times pretty well just because I wasn't used to it. I was still getting adjusted to it. But then once it started catching up to me weeks later, I feel like later on during this season, I kind of got a little burnout just because the amount of, I don't know, the amount of intensity that was going on. And I feel like the same amount of effort I was putting in to wasn't translating to as fast at times as it was previously. So yeah, I definitely experienced it during my career during that time. And then like it kind of made me, I don't know, feel like mentally like unstable, I guess, just because it was frustrating to see that happen. And it kind of did lead into like some injuries. Just because like I having like there are some problems with one of my ligaments and like my leg, like even before like our biggest race of the year, one of the biggest races of the year for our regional race. And like I wasn't even sure if I was gonna race that day just because I think I was burnt out at the moment, but I was able to race. But yeah, I mean, definitely affected me in that way.
So as far as effects of burnout, what kind of effects do you think burnout has on kind of like someone like yourself, not only on like seasonal goals, because you had kind of talked about like how it can affect um, big races if it kind of happens towards that end of the season, but seasonal goals and then also just career goals, like what kind of effects can burnout have on the two of those?
Yeah, seasonal goals, I think it can definitely affect like your times and your races, obviously. I just think that's a big part of it, especially since all the effort you've been putting into it isn't going to translate to maybe the goals that you have set. That can be like really frustrating in a way, just like mentally. Going off of that, like I guess like career goals. I mean, like your sport and running, obviously, if that burnout is happening, that can also affect things outside of your sport, like going into like I don't know, like working or career or something like that, and like just the mental effects that you experience during your sport can translate over to that. So you can see some like I don't know, like mood changes and stuff like that, and it could affect like how you view what your career is going to look like down the road. Just because like you can be like mentally unstable, and that can affect both ways. So it's definitely can affect other things outside of your sport, going into like more your career side of things.
Have you or do you know someone who has ever felt entrapped or yeah, felt entrapped in your sport and feel like they are too invested to quit?
Yeah, I think in high school I had a few close friends on the team where um I feel like they kind of felt entrapped in cross country. Like I can tell like they really didn't enjoy it like as much because they were the same grade as me, a senior, and they were telling me like they didn't really like enjoy it as much and stuff. But at that point, they were still like on our top seven in our team, and then at that point, it was like they were too invested at that point to end up quitting because it was a lot. It would take a toll on the team overall. But yeah, they were like not feeling it anymore and just kind of lost the love for it. But at that point, they were like too invested with it with themselves and the team, so they still um ended up finishing out the season and stuff. But yeah, they kind of felt entrapped in that moment um throughout that experience.
And then last one we have here. This is probably going to be somewhat similar to the question before about managing overtraining. But do you have any strategies in training that could help kind of mitigate some of the effects of burnout that athletes go through?
Yeah, kind of like I mentioned before, like talking to your coach is a big one just because and just if you're feeling the effects early on, definitely reduce the intensity of it because that can help um I don't know, change things and you won't have to hopefully experience those feelings of burnout, but maybe some other strategies of reducing the feelings of burnout are to focus a lot on like recovery and stuff, like in the training room and making sure you recover and um, I don't know, get healthier and stuff because putting that time in the training room and like stretching and rolling out and doing all that stuff and getting work done by the trainer can help your muscles recover more. And because if you don't end up doing that, it's going to put more stress on your body, and that can also be an effect of burning out faster at a faster rate. So that can help mitigate burnout in athletes as well. So this is kind of the strategies that I would recommend.